Ayla.
Hi, I'm Beth Ann.
And this is Let's Talk BL, a Boys Love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's Sunday, Series Sunday, the day of the week where we talk all about one series and one series only, chock full of spoilers. So if you have not seen Heartstopper Season 2, go watch the show.
Yeah, it's a great show. This was also a request. So we have not only, this is a very interesting episode, not only do we have two back-to-back Western series/films.
Yes.
We also have two back-to-back requests.
I know.
So doing requests is fun. If you guys have any requests, send them our way. So yes, last week was a request. This week is a request. Maybe next week will be a request. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I know. It's always so fun because, sometimes we hit a spot where we're like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, there's so many things that have either come out or there's so many things that we've already talked about. And
or they, haven't ended yet and we're, one episode away.
What do the people want to hear? And it's always nice when people just voluntarily are like, have you seen this show?
Yeah, when people are like,
amazing.
hey, talk about this.
It's very convenient.
Yes.
Okay.
So, Heartstopper Season 2.
Oh, my gosh.
Request. Very exciting.
Okay, nuts and bolts. It's only 8 episodes. It's on Netflix. Again, is this on Netflix internationally?
Yes, I did check because we got scolded a little bit last week for not being prepared enough. When we were I don't know if this is available. I prepared this week, so shout out that guy. Yeah, thanks for the scolding. Yes, this is available everywhere.
I guess because somebody was saying that because Red, White, and Royal Blue was an Amazon original and Heartstopper is a Netflix original, that those are kind of more accessible internationally.
Right. And
that would make sense.
Netflix is available internationally because that was the question last week is right. Amazon Prime available worldwide? The answer is yes, it is.
It is.
Again, we got scolded last week to learn our lesson. I did check.
Listen,
I checked.
We can't know all the information about everything, so chill out, people. And so, it's on Netflix. It stars as Charlie, Joe Locke, and Nick. This is Kit Connor.
Yes, Kit Connor as Nick Nelson.
Nick Nelson.
Who, by the way, if you remember the first time we talked about this show, when we talked about Heartstopper Season 1, we crowned Nick Nelson the best of all BL boys. And
he holds the title still.
He continues to hold this title.
Literally the entire series, Ayla just kept going, oh my God, Nick Nelson is perfect.
He is. Nick Nelson is he is the perfect boy. He is really the perfect. He never did anything wrong. He never did anything wrong.
No, I can't think of
I challenge you. Tell me one time Nick Nelson did something wrong in the show, because I have not read all of the novels. Right. But in Season 1 or Season 2, I challenge you. Tell me one time Nick Nelson did something wrong.
No, I literally everything that he did, not wanting to come out to his friends and taking time to do that kind of stuff and kind of grappling with his relationship with his brother and pretty much everything, it was understandable. Everything he did was I don't know how he dealt with that, or I can understand.
He never did anything wrong?
It's true.
Okay, synopsis.
So I have 2 synopses. I couldn't find any full series synopsis because usually what happens with Netflix is they do episode by episode synopsis and they just have the Season 1, because I guess if you're not really going to skip to Season 2.
Right, if you don't know what happened in Season 1.
Yeah, so I found a synopsis on the trailer, and then I found a synopsis for episode 1 of Season 2, which I feel covers the gist.
Yeah, no, we're just going to read the trailer synopsis. Because I read these and I was like, no, this is silly.
Okay.
Nick, Charlie, and the gang return as they journey through the next chapter of life, love, and friendship.
Cute.
Super cute. All of our faves are returning in this season.
Yeah.
And our nemesis, I feel like worldwide nemesis, Ben is back.
Literally,
we love everyone but Ben.
The complete opposite of Nick Nelson.
I feel like that's the point.
Horrible human being.
That's the point of finding Nick Nelson.
Yeah. Lord have mercy. Season 2, I feel like, was just as good as Season 1. It felt really different, but it also felt really similar. I like that we got more time with the side couples and the side characters. I felt like obviously they developed those relationships differently and more, and it was an interesting season.
I really liked this season. I went into it being unsure if I would like it or not, just kind of based on what again, and this is why you can't do things based on what you see other people say about a show, which feels weird to say considering that's literally what I'm doing right now. But again, we've always said this, like, take what we say with a grain of salt.
For all the grains of salt.
Also, everybody has their own opinion and the own way they process things. So I definitely went into this thing like, ooh, I wonder if I'll like this as much because I loved season 1. And I did. I liked it just as much. I guess we can start. Why don't we start with Ben? Because I feel like we can get him over with so quickly. Because there's, like, honestly, there was a lot with Tao and Elle that I want to talk about. And then there's also, like, so much with Darcy and Tara.
Right. I will say, pause on that. The show overall, talking about, like, the conversation and everyone's opinion, the one thing I did see about this series when it came out was the fact that, like, people were kind of still a little salty about the controversy from season 1. And I did see a lot of conversation being like, y'all, this show isn't groundbreaking. Like, other people are doing something very similar and there are good conversations to be had, but, like, I think a lot of people wanted to put Heartstopper on a pedestal that it didn't need to be on.
Right. It's not groundbreaking. It's just not. Again, I know we have name dropped this person before, but, like, I highly recommend go read Dr. Thomas Baudinette's thoughts on this show. I think they're very well articulated and very, very interesting. But yeah, I think I saw a lot of people just sort of, like, calm down, I guess, a little bit on the hype for it. And maybe that was why. But I don't know. Again, grain of salt, all of it, because I loved it. It was really fun. It was great to watch. So, Ben.
Yes.
I appreciate that Ben got his comeuppance. Ben got publicly shamed.
That boy did not know when to quit.
In, like, the best way, because, like, he got publicly shamed for basically being the worst boyfriend ever, like, for being a douche.
Yeah.
Without Charlie's situation with him having to be outed, right? So, like, because of Imogen and because of the way he treated Imogen, I really, like, I thought it was cool that he got to be publicly shamed for, like, being a dick in relationships.
Yeah.
Without the beans having to be spilled.
I know. I, like, held my breath in that scene.
I was really worried.
Like,
I was really worried. It freaked me out.
Ben's not a reliable dude.
Yeah.
Like,
as soon as Ben was like, I could get Charlie back. I want him back. Like, how dare you steal him from me? Like, okay, first of all, bro, Nick Nelson did not steal him from you, considering the fact that you refused to date him in the first place. Like, you weren't dating. He didn't steal your boyfriend because you never were his boyfriend. Like, you were never Charlie's boyfriend to begin with. Whatever.
No.
Ben is the Earth's worst, and we all know he's the Earth's worst, and he definitely gets his comeuppance, and good for all of us.
And in relation to Ben, I feel like we can go to Imogen. I feel like she could have been that character that was, like, the scorned girl, the, like, evil girl, but she truly held on to, like, a good grounding of, like, you know, she never turned evil. I feel
like Imogen never was going to be that girl. Imogen was never that character.
No. And I felt like she did a great job. I especially loved when Nick finally became brave enough to tell her that he was dating Charlie, and she was like, duh.
Well, she says it to him first.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he's, like, trying to get through it, and she's like, what about Charlie, that you guys are together? And he was like, and she was like, oh, sorry, I guess I should let you say it. It was really cute.
Which I think is it's, like, such a teen experience, right? Where, like, so many like, some people in general just can't, like, wait for other people to just say the thing. You're like, you already know, right? Like, you hear so many parents being like, yes, of course you're gay. Like,
she's the cutest thing. I really feel like she's the cutest thing.
And I like that they, like, brought her into their group. Like, she became, like, she became what she called, like, the token straight. Like, it was very sweet that she got, like, pulled into this group and, like, the friends accepted her, and it was very sweet.
Yeah, and another thing that we talked about, like, during this, like, right, of Charlie or Nick coming out to her and all of this was how, like, interesting it is that the whole, like, co-ed teen sleepover thing is this, like, universal, like, all of the things, the, like, whispering and the, like, all of the things that they did, these, like, rituals are, like, almost, or what we were like, oh, that's a universal, like, rite of passage. Like, we did that. Like, I did that as a teenager. I'm curious to know, because I know we've got people that listen from, like, all over the world. I'd love to know if this is a universality that, like, extends out of the West, like, out of the US, out of the UK.
Are you
I'm very curious.
childhood sleepovers like such a thing.
Right. Not necessarily sleepovers, but this like, I feel like what we were talking about was that like the teen co-ed sleepover was like a rite of passage. Like the first time you had like a co-ed
we never had in-house co-ed sleepovers. We had lock-ins at church, which were co-ed, which is really ironic. But yeah, I don't know if we were never allowed to do co-ed sleepovers or if like that just wasn't a thing.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I am younger than you, so maybe it like kind of shifted generationally. I don't know, because like we definitely did it, and it was like it definitely wasn't allowed for some reason until you were older. And I feel like I don't know how. Obviously, I'm not a parent, and I never did ask my parents, but like eventually it was allowed. I had those sleepovers.
Yeah, we also, like, I didn't have friend groups in my later years of college. Like, I was single friends with a lot of people. But, I don't remember sleepovers being a thing once you, like, hit, like, 16.
Oh, my gosh, so many of my friends. Oh, but, like, that's why, is you can, like, go to each other. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this was totally a thing.
I mean, we did sleepovers in college. We would like pile in someone's room and like all spend the night. But yeah, actually, now that I think about it, like co-ed sleepovers, because you could drive and everyone had midnight curfew, like, yeah, you just came home by like the time you were supposed to. Yeah, it probably had to do with the fact that I didn't have a large friend group in my later years of high school. And I had a car and I would just like go home.
Yeah, I will say I think it wasn't until I was maybe like 16, 17 we were allowed.
Big group of people.
Just like a group sleepover.
Pile in someone's house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would just go home.
Yeah, no.
Because there weren't, like, it was like 3 or 4 of us. And you wouldn't. Yeah. That's so funny. Interesting. Yeah, tell us if you did co-ed sleepovers, if like sleepovers were a thing. Yeah. At what point? Because I remember sleepovers being a big deal in like elementary, middle school, but not as you went into high school.
I feel like they got more fun once we were in high school.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Because there's like gossip. Like once you're in high school, there really is gossip.
Yeah. Everybody at our sleepovers, because the only sleepovers that we did were like in middle school and like early high school, and somebody always like pulled a prank on the first person who went to sleep. It's always a fun time.
So pure.
I know. It was. High school was such innocent times.
So pure.
But yes, that sleepover scene was very cute because it was like a fun little mixture of friends, and like they were all like kind of grappling with different struggles and different.
They all had different things going on.
They were all going through something.
Yes, as you do as a teen.
It's true.
So,
but yeah, I really did like Imogen as a character and as her journey through this whole thing, because funny enough, like she liked everyone that Charlie liked.
Yeah, she and Charlie have the same taste. I love that for them. That's cute.
No. But I don't remember much about her interactions with Charlie. Because she was Nick's friend. She's like Nick's childhood friend.
Yeah, I don't remember her really having a ton of interaction with Charlie. I thought it was really cute that she and like Darcy started to become friends.
Yeah.
I thought that was like a really cute friendship. And she and Elle, that was a really cute and fun friendship too. Yeah, she kind of, I mean, as you do with like a bigger friend group, like there are lots of, I feel like it was pretty common like in my friend groups where like you're friends as a group, but like you wouldn't necessarily hang out with everybody one-on-one.
Right.
So yeah, I feel like it was a very natural way to like bring them all together, and yeah. It was cute.
So speaking of Elle and Tao and all the side characters, I like the development of Tao and Elle's relationship.
Yeah, me too. It frustrated me. It was frustrating for me to watch because
it really was.
There were many times I really didn't understand Elle. I really did not understand her reactions to, especially there was one time where it really, I was like, I just didn't get it. Like, I just didn't understand. So when they go on the date and he's like Tao has picked this movie that he knows she loves.
He's like trying really hard.
And he's trying super hard, and she gets like mad at him.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand, like, I still don't really understand that reaction of like being mad at him for trying so hard. Like, he clearly is like, he likes you, and he's trying to show you that he pays attention to the things that you like, and he wants to like create this like fun, amazing, good time for you based on the things that you love. Like, it very much was like an acts of service, love language type of date that he was putting together. And instead of her being appreciative or just explaining to him like, next time let's do something you like to do, right? Or maybe on the next date, like, instead of her like creating a date for him or something, she gets mad at him, like, and mean. Like, she was kind of mean to him, and it all worked out in the end. It was fine. And I just didn't get it. Like, it didn't seem like her personality to do that. It did, like, it felt wrong. I don't know.
I think I understood it a little bit as two things. First, the idea that like she's getting what she wants, and it feels surreal. It feels like too good to be true, and then you self-sabotage, right? Like, there are people that do that. They're like, there's no way that this boy likes me, and so I'm gonna like push back against it because like there's no possible way. The other reason I can see her doing this is because he's becoming someone she doesn't know. Like, he's trying too hard to be the person he thinks she wants him to be, which is not who he actually is. So potentially in that, because like she knows him and like they're good friends, and so potentially it's one of those situations where she's like, no, I already know you don't like this movie, and so I know you're unhappy, and I like you, and I want happy things for you.
But why would you be mad at him about that?
Like, that, but it goes back to the self-sabotage of like,
the self-sabotage thing makes more sense because I was like, I don't get, like, why are we mad at him for like doing a nice thing?
You're being high schoolers, right? Like, you're hormonal and emotional, and like you overthink,
but then she was
like
mean to him. And like, Elle is not a mean person, so I think that's what confused me about it more than anything. Is I was like, it doesn't seem like her personality to be mean to him.
And overall, the funny part about their relationship is they lacked the communication that like
they
Nick and Charlie
they had the worst communication.
Whereas like we went into season 1 being like, oh my god, the communication, there's so much communication in this season. You have good communication still between Nick and Charlie for the most part, but then you have like the lack of communication where I do think potentially part of it is like neither one of these characters knew how to tell the person that they were closest to like their real true feelings, because you're scared, you're unsure of how the other person's going to react, because you do have that depth of relationship and friendship, and then like kind of grappling with like, what if the other person doesn't feel the same way? Like, am I allowed to change the dynamic of this relationship?
Well, and I can kind of see the like denial / self-sabotaging. Like, I get that. I guess I remember that as a teenager. Like, I definitely had those moments where like I just didn't, like, I liked a boy, and he clearly, like, in retrospect, and, like, my other friends would then go on later to tell me, like Ayla, what the hell? Of, like, where I was like, I don't know, I just didn't think that's what he was doing. And then, like, my younger sister, we have this story, because, like, she and I are, like, fairly close in age. Yeah. And so by the time I was in college, she was in, like, later high school, and she used to be allowed to come visit me on the weekends. Like, I went to school, my first year of college, I went to school in a different city. And she used to be allowed to come visit me on the weekends. And, like, so there was one weekend that she came to visit me, and she's like staying in my apartment, and because I lived in an apartment my first year of college, like with friends, I didn't live like in a dorm on campus, and we were having a party, as you do, and like my younger sister was like always has been a part of my friend group, and like we always have had overlap in friends and things like that, and there was this boy. And he looked just like Nick Jonas.
Fantastic.
Yes. His name was Kevin. And his name was Kevin, but he looked like Nick Jonas, which is funny.
Nice.
Yeah. His name was Kevin. I don't want to sell his last name, but like every time I hear it, I just like hear his full name in my head, because it was one of those boys where like you say his full name.
Yeah, like Nick Nelson.
Yeah, like Nick Nelson. Like when you were talking about him,
Ben Brazier.
Exactly, like Benjamin Brazier. You would call him Kevin.
Yeah.
His last name.
Continue.
And at this party, he was like flirting with, like really flirting with her, and he wasn't in college yet or anything. We had like a very mixed age friend group at that point. Being like 18-year-olds in college, like some of our friends were like younger. Anyways, and like I kept telling her, I was like, he's like hitting on you, he's flirting with you, and she's like, no. She's like, absolutely he's not. Yeah. Absolutely he's not. And I was like, think about the things that he just said, like, yes. She was like, no, and she was fully in denial. And it was like, I want to say like a year or two later that he said something about it. He was like, I don't know, I flirted with you and you didn't flirt back with me. So I just saw you didn't like it was really funny. So I guess the whole like denial, like maybe Ella's like, I could see her being like in denial about it. Maybe that was her reaction of like, he's doing this to like be nice to me, basically, because he doesn't want me to go away. Maybe he doesn't actually have these feelings for me.
He's figured out that she likes him, and like he's trying to save her face.
Right, he's trying to like be nice to her. It's not that he actually likes her; it's that he's trying to be nice to her. Maybe that's what she's thinking, and it like annoys her. And I don't know.
Well, and she is withholding because like it is annoying. Here's the thing: I hate the idea that like you don't tell people things to spare their feelings, which is essentially lying. And then eventually they find out that you didn't tell them the thing. And then they're upset because like you didn't tell them the thing. And this is what she does when she gets into art school. She should be able to go to the person she's closest to and be like, there's a good thing that happened to me. Can you be excited with me? But instead she's like, oh, he's going to be sad, instead of celebrating this good thing that happened to her.
But I think that it's valid. I don't think that is a reflection on him at all, or her.
No.
And I don't think it's like lying, and I don't think it's the wrong choice. Like, I actually really understood that because like, she's gonna go and she knows she's gonna go and he's happy for her. He wants her to go. He's excited for this for her. But I don't think it's a bad thing for him to be sad. I don't think those two things are mutually exclusive.
Right.
I think he can be sad and excited for her. I think he can be both.
Well, but the fact that she withheld that information, he then found out through someone else.
And then he was sad about it.
And then there was double sadness because he felt like she couldn't like come to him with this good thing because she knew he was going to be sad. But like, yeah, it's a very conflicting thing. But I think, yes, you're right that like he was going to be sad and she was going to be sad that like they're going to be apart.
Right.
I think they're both going to be sad about the same thing. She's going to be more excited because she's going to this school that she wants to go to. But like, it is an awful thing because I had a friend group in college where like two of our friends started dating and I was ecstatic for them. But their other closest friend, like they didn't tell her because they knew she'd be sad because like that dynamic changes. Even if like you don't want it to change, it's still going to change a little bit. But so they lied to her essentially for like months. And then eventually they told her, and then you have to tell her like, oh yeah, we've been dating behind your back for months. And there was like this weirdness of like, you couldn't trust me. Like, it's okay for me to be sad in this moment, but also like, I'm even more sad because like, we're the closest friends that we have. And like, you couldn't tell me this thing that was good for you. And so, yeah, Elle and Tao did eventually work it out. Another one of the best parents in BL. Tao's mom.
She was fantastic. Mom is great. I'm obsessed with her.
She was a gem.
I will say, so for Elle's faults, I do think Tao has faults too. Mm-hmm. Like, Tao pretty much was great, but Tao getting upset with Elle for having new friends is really not chill. Like, somebody can have lots of friends and you should be happy for them that they have lots of friends instead of like having this weird like ownership over a person. And I don't really know I know he was like scared to lose her and all of this and like was she drifting, but that's the thing is like I feel like he should have been a bit more secure in their friendship. Yeah. That just because she has other friends, because if you think about their inner friend group, right? They've got Charlie, they've got Nick, they've got, right? Like, and so her having these new friends that ultimately I think were really good for her because she's meeting trans people. She's meeting, right? Because no matter what, like Tao has been a very supportive friend to her from day one. Yeah. But Tao is not trans. Like no matter what, Tao will not understand everything that she's been through. And so like, I think that I was really happy for her and I thought it was really good for her that she was like, she had this friend group that kind of could share experiences with her and share this like deeper understanding of like what she had been through.
And that's always going to be a threat to him because like they understand more of who she is. But that's just the nature of like transitions, right? Like this transition of going from high school to college.
Yeah.
You hear it time and time again that like if you're dating somebody going into college, you're never gonna last. And if like you're gonna lose touch with your friend group that you had in high school as you go into college, because like you change, you transition, things are different. Like your life looks so different. You a lot of times become friends with people in college that like you have the same class schedule with, or that like you live close to.
Yeah, I think that like that really made me feel gross when he was like upset with her for having new friends, for making new friends, when I feel like he should have been happy for her. And so, but ultimately, for all of their faults on both sides, I think they both like they figured it out and they got there, and it was so cute. And with like the leg pop, when they kiss in the museum, like the whole thing was just so good.
That whole museum scene was so beautiful and sweet and like well done. They were very cute.
I loved that museum scene. Okay, Nick and Charlie. Or do we want to talk about Darcy and Tara first?
Let's do Darcy and Tara first, because I feel like they were so interesting. Mainly because like they weren't a big part of like the whole series until like the last couple of episodes, and then it got real dark and dramatic.
Like you knew something was going on with them, but you didn't really know what the deal was. But I did like the way they did that, because I thought it was cool, because like that's what was happening in their relationship. Is like she knew something was up, but she didn't know the details. So I did think it was cool the way they like showed it to us, because we were kind of experiencing it in the same way as like
she was. When we were trying to figure out exactly what was going on, we were like, what could this be? That's so scary. And dang, the worst mom in BL.
The worst mom. We have the best mom and the worst mom in this show.
And I feel like that's so true to life sometimes. The people who have it all together sometimes have like the hardest home life, or the hardest like relationship in some, like there's that person where you see that you think they have it all together, and then come to find out like they're just like faking it till they make it.
What is it? What's that thing that's like on all the like Southern stuff that's like everyone's fighting a private or whatever? Like basically don't be mean to people because you don't know what they're going through.
Yeah, you have
Even
no
if
idea.
they seem like super confident and like, you know, water off duck's back, like they, you know, totally can handle whatever you have to throw at them. Like, no, they probably can't. Like, what if we're just not mean to people, you guys?
You have no idea what's going on. I mean, as we have seen in so many instances with celebrities and like famous culture, you're like, you have no idea what they've been through or what they're dealing with.
But yeah, that was heavy. And it like, I do credit this show. I think that it shows a bunch of different family dynamics in really real ways, because like the sad part is this is a reality. Like this really is how some parents react and treat their kids. And like, there also, you have these families where there's splits. Like one of my very, very good friends, who he's gay, but when he was a teenager, like half his family knew and half of his family didn't, because he knew that part of his family wouldn't, like, so like how in Nick's case, like it was kind of a similar situation where he knew like part of his family wasn't going to
accept it,
be favorable.
Yeah, I did appreciate that, like, the friends rallied. Like, that was such a sweet moment of, like, they all came together. And it's nice because I feel like within all these characters in this show, there's someone that, like, you can relate to and understand. And, like, there's someone for everyone. And, yeah, this storyline, it like felt like it came out of nowhere, which I guess was true to their relationship on screen, where you're like, dang, like you're living it as the watcher. What Darcy, right, is the one who's like in the dark about it all. It was fascinating.
Yeah, it was a really heavy storyline.
Especially because season 1, like they were the power couple. Yeah,
and like to everyone else watching them, they're the perfect couple, right? And so like, I really hope in season 3 we get more of them, right? We got so much Elle and Tao, which I love. So I'm hoping we get a little more, like, especially now that like we've said we love each other and all of this, like, and she throws her the little birthday party, which was so cute. The truth, I will say, speaking of the birthday party, the truth or dare spin the bottle hybrid situation was fascinating to me. I have never before seen it played that way.
Leave it to the teams to like condense the old school stuff into something new and fun and fresh.
Yeah, the spin the bottle truth. So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows the actual rules of this game, you spin the bottle and the person it lands on, the person that spun it gets to say truth or dare and either ask them a truth or tell them a dare. And then if they don't want to do it, then they have to kiss the person.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Is that the rule? I think that's what I like picked up from watching it, but
okay.
I'm unclear.
Who isn't
I'm fascinated by this like hybrid game.
Also, another game across cultures. Does every culture play a version of spin the bottle? I know most cultures have truth or dare.
We know they do in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen it in
in
Korean.
somebody in Thailand was telling me about like truth or dare played with cards.
Right.
I still don't quite, he explained it to me and I still don't quite understand. I don't know. He did his best, but I still don't really understand how you play truth or dare with like a deck of cards. Like he was telling me it's like a deck of like king, queen, jack, like a deck of 52 cards. And I'm like, I don't get it. And then he was telling me that like the dare is the same every time. And I was like, I'm so confused. But okay. Because I don't think I should play truth or dare with Thai people. I think I would lose immediately.
In Thai shows, I have seen them play that like I Am Your King game, which is similar to truth or dare, but like different.
But that's not what he said. He said it's truth or dare, but with a deck of 52 like playing cards. Right. And the dare was always the same dare. Or maybe he was saying if you didn't do the truth, the punishment. I don't know. Unclear. But yeah, I would be curious to know if truth or dare and spin the bottle
are universal
across all countries. Does every country, kind of like how every country has like a rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah. And what is it called in your country?
Yeah.
Is it called spin the bottle or is it called like whatever the translation is for each?
Is it a translation or is it called something completely different?
Tell us. We want to know.
I want to know.
Okay. To finish off the friend group, we got an ace character.
We did. And
that was cool.
The way that they did that was really interesting to me because it was interesting to watch Isaac figure that out about himself. And it was interesting as a viewer to watch it unfold because for me as a viewer, at least when I was watching it, I was like, he's looking around watching all these people kiss. And in my head, I'm wondering like, is it because he wants to be kissed? Mm-hmm. And I think that really uncovers like an implicit bias that I have that's just like assuming, everybody wants to make out all the time, right? That's just assuming that everybody is like interested in that. And it turns out that
like it means the same to everybody.
That he's looking around watching these people kiss and he's like, I don't know why you would, like, he doesn't understand. He's like, why would you want to do that? And then like watching him like get there where he thinks he kisses the other very cute little boy whose name I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And at first he says, "Oh, I don't like him, right? I didn't enjoy this kiss because I don't like him." And then like he figures out, and I got there like a little quicker because I remembered in the book display that they were setting up, there was a very prominent book about asexuality. Right. And so I was like, oh, I bet that's what's happening here. Just like how I called Charlie's eating disorder very early on. Yeah. I called that very early on. I was like, this is a thing. This is a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I also, the thing that I love too, and we're seeing it more and more, is the importance that like entertainment and media plays in like some people's development. Because he talks about how like he reads a lot of books and he sees these stories and he finds the stories interesting, but like he never wants to be a part of that.
Right.
And the way that like everyone consumes media differently, and I think this is a great kind of lesson of some people want to just like observe other people's stories, and then some people want to put themselves in the stories, and it's different for everyone. And for Isaac, he very much was like, I enjoy viewing these things, but I don't want to do these things. And I thought that was really an interesting narrative and like kind of him dealing with that. And yes, there is a very much given kind of standard of like everyone wants to kiss everyone else.
Right. I realized that about myself and I caught myself. I was like, wow, that was pretty like, yeah. I was like, I'm trying to come up with the term of, I don't think homophobic is the term. Is there a term? Can someone tell me? Please leave in the comments. Like, what is the term for having like a bias against asexuality? Anyways, it was an implicit bias, which we all have implicit biases that like we don't know about until we realize them, until we know about them. And in that moment, I realized I was like, why did I assume he wanted to kiss someone?
I wonder, is that part of like heteronormative?
Maybe it's just heteronormative behavior.
Yeah, but
you can. I don't know.
I know, that is interesting.
If anybody knows, tell us. You know who I bet would know. Dr. Thomas Bowden.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah.
We should DM him.
Yeah.
We should have him on the show, actually.
We should have him on the podcast.
Okay, so yeah, that was an interesting storyline. Okay, now let's talk about Charlie and Nick.
We have one more storyline to talk about first.
Oh, wait, who?
The cute teachers.
Oh my God, that was so fun.
I love them.
That was so fun.
I love them. Mr. Farouk is such a mood. I am obsessed with Mr. Farouk.
When they checked into that hotel, we both looked at each other and we were like, is it gay?
We were like, is it gay? Are they going to be gay? And like the whole time leading up to it, like when they were like in front of the room when all the kids were like getting ready to go to Paris. Yeah. And they're standing there next to each other. I was like, Are they going to be gay?
I did love that it became gay.
And then it really was. I love the like sneaky the way that he did it when he was like, because they catch the boys making out and he was like, I remember like, you know, or something about like I'm too old for like a high school.
Yeah, one of the Mr. Farouk was like, I didn't get to have that because I didn't realize I was gay until I was like in my 30s.
Yeah, but before that, the other teacher is the one that like he's him like, sneaky trying to figure it out.
Yeah, he's like, didn't we all have that? And the other guy was like, I don't know, I was too late to the gays.
Yeah, Mr. Farouk being like, well, I didn't figure out I was gay until I was like an adult, so it is. I'm never gonna have that youthful indiscretion.
Them both being like.
And then,
but is it gay?
Yeah, I loved that conversation of them like figuring it out, putting two and two together. I was like, yes. And then I also loved when they were about to hook up, then the reality of being a teacher, which by the way, this whole trip stressed me out so much. I was like, literally the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, I cannot imagine having to watch and supervise like a group of like 20 teens in Paris, because you're like, from a liability standpoint, like these are children and you're like responsible for them. I mean, in another country.
Did you take high school trips? With school?
Yes.
But were there multiple teachers?
Yes. But also I can't imagine having to be the adult. Because like, I took trips, and when I tell you we got up to shenanigans, I also went to summer camp where we like stayed on college campuses. Yeah. I went to debate camp because I'm a nerd. And so at debate camp, you stay in dorms on the campus.
Yeah, yeah.
And
there are students there.
No, they never let us stay in dorms with students. No.
There weren't university students just like on campus?
There were, but not in the dorms we were in.
But like you didn't.
We were in fully empty dorms.
But like you didn't interact with like the other university students. It doesn't matter if you're staying in the same dorm.
Not really, because we were debate kids. Like, listen, debate kids do get up to shenanigans, but debate kids in general more so get up to shenanigans with each other than, because, you know, you don't really have that, like, I don't know. You don't got the Riz.
Nice.
We were all Rizless.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
But no, the whole time I was like, I cannot, now as being an adult.
This is why all the parents signed a waiver.
But still, you're the adult. Like, even if you're not going to get sued or whatever because, like, the parents signed a waiver, you still, like, that is a child you're responsible for. And it's not just a child. It's, like, 20 of them. Yeah. Good Lord. No. Anyways, the realities of their situation came crashing down on them so quickly because they were about to hook up. And then they roll into the room with this, like, drunk girl because these sweet, sweet teens are like, help us. She's drunk. We don't know what to do.
I know. I did think that was funny. It's such teens. You're like, she's drunk.
It was like the cutest, funniest
thing. As long as she's not passed out, you're fine.
I did think it was funny she pukes on the bed, so then they don't have sheets for one of the beds. Of course. This is very much like TBL, where it's like in DBK and Dark Blue Kiss, where like they go to rent the hotel and they only have rooms with one bed, and I'm so sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
You obviously both have to sleep in the bed together.
It's just fantastic. The teachers brought me so much joy.
They were fantastic.
I love them.
I did love that they ended up being gay.
Yes.
Oh, that was amazing.
Okay, now Charlie and Nick.
Yeah, their storyline this season was really interesting. There was a lot of dynamics at play. It wasn't about just like them being, obviously it was never going to be them happy-go-lucky, like hand in hand, because they did have to grapple with Nick still very much being in the closet socially and Charlie being out it was so funny though, because like when you post someone to your feed,
that's how, I mean, it's real.
It's real.
Instagram official. As we used to say in the day, Facebook official.
I thought that was so funny. Like, you're not going to just, although there is this one Thai actor that keeps posting very cryptic IG posts with random friends that are boys. And everyone's like, is it gay? Unclear.
Yeah, I really liked Charlie and Nick this season. I thought it was really interesting to watch Charlie take on so much responsibility for trying to make Nick's story perfect when there's so many other external factors that he can't control. Yeah. And so in the end, he ends up just hurting himself more. And Charlie, of course, because he's Charlie, like, it just takes on all that responsibility on himself. And then Nick Nelson, being the perfect boy, ends up, like, he's so worried about Charlie all the time that he's so well adjusted. Nick Nelson is so well adjusted. God, he's the most well adjusted boy.
Except for the relationship with like his family. That's like the only part where he definitely.
Dad, but he's well adjusted in the sense that like he understands what all is happening. It's not like, and he says to Charlie, he's like, I knew this was never going to be perfect. I knew, you know, that I could only do as much as I could, you know, and so like, in Charlie trying to make everything perfect for Nick and being so fixated on like this has to be perfect for Nick,
protecting him,
he ends up making it harder on Nick because now not only is Nick going through this, but Nick is also now worried about Charlie, who's going, like, you know what I mean? So he's like adding on stress for Nick. It's just like, it's a fascinating dynamic, but Nick Nelson is perfect. His brother is a piece of shit.
The worst.
His brother sucks. I am kind of obsessed with Charlie's sister, though, who...
Yeah, she's great.
For a minute, I was like, wait, are Charlie's sister and Nick's brother going to get together? Because,
I thought so, too.
But Charlie's sister would never.
No.
But, like, definitely Nick's brother kind of has a thing for her now. Because as soon as she was mean to him, he was like...
I could see them, like, hate making out in season 3.
No, Charlie's sister would never. She's perfect.
No, I think she
would never. I disagree. I think
she would have full control of that situation, and she'd be like,
she would never.
She'd make him nicer.
No, she would never spend her time or waste her energy on somebody that's homophobic like that. Nah.
Yeah, that was really interesting because again, Nick had photos of him and Charlie on his wall in his bedroom, and he was like, if you didn't want people to know, like, why are you so obvious?
Right. I mean, at the same time, though, like, as somebody that grew up with siblings, stay out of my room. Like, why are you in my room? That's my space. Like, why are you in my room?
His brother has zero boundaries, as we have learned.
Obviously. But, like, I mean, listen, it's Nick's room. He doesn't have his own house. Like, what's he supposed to do, you know? Like, they're not adults.
I do like his relationship with his mom, and that mom is very, like, she's protective and she's like supportive, but she knows she can't shield her children from like bad things, and she's like, you have to deal with what, you know, like your dynamic with your dad, for example. Like, there's nothing she could have done, because I think a lot of parents want to be everything to their children that the other parent isn't in that like divorce situation. And she very much is like, your dad sucks. Like, I wish I could make it better, but like, I know I can't. And by trying to make it better, I would probably make it worse. And so I'm just going to be the supportive parent that I can be. Yeah. And she is very nice in that situation. But yeah, that dinner where they're literally both families, it's like, bro, it's again, it's so obvious, because like, you're not just gonna bring like your straight fit friends, like entire family to dinner.
Listen, it was always gonna be what it was gonna be. I don't know, like,
oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, I think their dynamic is really interesting. I think Charlie just has a lot to work through. Like, Charlie has a lot of trauma, and I do think Nick, I think, should get a lot of credit for the fact that he's so understanding about this, about the eating disorder now, right? This is what they're going through together now. Where, like, that's a lot for a 16-year-old to take on.
Yeah.
That's a big thing to shoulder, to like trying and like helping your boyfriend work through. Like, that's a lot. Like, Nick's got, and I would be surprised if in season 3 we didn't see Nick have a stumble, because he's taken on so much as a 16-year-old. And I always forget how young they are. Yeah. Like, even when they are having the conversation in Paris about like they're both not ready to have sex yet, is like, I was like, oh yeah, because they're like 15, 16. I was like, they're like young.
I did appreciate kind of how chaste, I guess I would say this series is, because like a lot of times in straight teen shows, they're banging left
They're banging
and right.
already, yeah.
Which statistics actually say that teens are having sex later and later because they're so online that like they're not doing as much in person.
They're having physical sex later and later. I actually just read through this study. And teens also are more desensitized to sex now than they ever have been before. And they also,
they have like earlier exposure to it.
And they're a lot more desensitized. They have higher levels of porn addiction. They have higher levels of like abusive behavior because they're not learning sex through the experience of sex. They're learning sex by watching people do it online, like and extremes. The like step on me, choke me, right? Yeah, all of that. Wild. That like teens now are having less physical sex than they used to, but they are a lot higher rates of like sex disorders now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because even the teen media that I can think about that showcases intimacy between teens is not a healthy depiction.
No, it's always like pretty abusive. It's not a great situation. Yeah. No. But yeah, I definitely like, I forget how young they are sometimes. And I think partially it's because Nick takes on so much. Yeah. Like Nick is just like, he's the, like how this kid is so well adjusted at the age. He's 16, I believe. At the age of 16. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I will be curious to see in the next season if they show any of Nick's flaws.
If he has like a little bit of a breakdown. Yeah. Because I mean, it's a lot. He's taken on a lot.
I did think it was interesting the way that they showed the panic attacks in this season. And the fact that like Nick in relation to his friends, because he does seem mostly unaffected by a lot of it. But that like when they were at that bonfire and he was like trying to grapple with like his friends and his like Charlie friends, because he's very much being pulled in many different directions, and how they showed that like he was feeling overwhelmed, like he wasn't totally unaffected. Right. That was an interesting.
Yeah, and like he couldn't find Charlie, and he was supposed to be in charge of Charlie. Yeah. Which again, like taking on a little too much there, bro.
I know.
That was interesting. Also, the way that they showed Charlie when he was like going through his eating disorder, right? Like as he was about to like pass out and things like that. Yeah. Was really interesting. The way that they do the graphics in this series is really interesting and cool.
The way that this show really does the light and the dark well. Yeah. I think like they can be fun and light and like very graphic novel-y, but also handle the like heavy stuff in a respectful way. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, I thought it was a great series. We end on a cliffhanger because, of course, we know we're already renewed for season 3. Yeah. So we end on a cliffhanger, which is a very teenage cliffhanger of him texting, "I love you." Oh, so cute. And we don't get to see him reply, so we don't know what he's gonna say. But it's a pretty good cliffhanger, I will say.
I wonder if we're gonna get a time jump, or if they'll stay in high school. That would be interesting.
I don't know. I haven't read the graphic novels. I know. So if somebody that's read the novels, you probably do know, and you could tell us.
It'd be interesting. Okay. We have some housekeeping.
Sure. Come to Thailand with us. If you didn't know, now you know. We're going to Thailand, and we're hosting a group trip.
It's going to be so fun.
August 29th through September 4th, 2024. So just about exactly a year from now. As of the time of recording, there are 2 spots left on the tour. I don't know if this will still be the case when this releases, but as of the time of recording, 2 spots left. So if you haven't booked, go book now. The link is in the description of this episode. The way that it works, you only have to put 25% down. There is no like credit check or anything to do that. It's kind of similar to if you've ever booked a cruise. It's a very similar situation. Yeah. They do also accept Affirm. That one does have a credit check, and so like that situation is going to vary from person to person. But if it is sold out by the time you get to this, that's okay. Sign up anyways, because we can have a wait list. So if somebody unfortunately has an emergency and has to cancel, a spot could open up and you could get pinged off the wait list. So I do recommend still signing up for the wait list if you really want to go, if it is sold out. But as of right now, 2 spots left. Come with us to Thailand. It's going to be super fun. We're going to Bangkok and Chiang Mai.
It's going to be so fun.
I'm so excited about it.
We're going to be doing some BL stuff, but also some very just like Thailand stuff. It's going to be everything and all the things.
All the things, all the food, all the culture, all the BL stuff. It's going to be so much fun.
Come with us.
Come with us.
This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.